Hi guys, Ian here, and today we have a little sit down, kind of like a coffee talk without no coffee. I have my water. I've been doing very, very good lately. I haven't been filming. Oh my God, it's been a minute. I haven't been feeling good. And, well, actually my back was hurting. Most of you guys know, many years ago, in 2005, I was in a really, really bad car accident where Isaiah at the time was 12 months old and he was in a coma for 3 days, broke both of his ankles. It was bad. Lexi broke her nose and... I hurt my lower back really bad. I have 3 torn discs in my back. So what that means is I have bone on bone. Usually, you have your bone, the cartilage, the bone, like your disc. Well, when you have a torn disc, the cartilage leaks out and then you have bone on bone. And so I deal with that. I was on pain management program for 17, 18 years, I think. About that. I started in February of 2006. And by the end of it, I was on Oxycontin 40 milligrams twice a day and Roxicodone 15 milligrams 4 times a day. I was on a lot of medicine. And then finally, I just wanted to get off of it because I noticed, say I went to bed because I wasn't in that much pain, so I didn't even think about taking a pain pill. By 4 or 5 in the morning, I would actually wake up because I was in withdrawal. So it's not like my mind was like, oh, I need a pill. My body, because I didn't have it for so many hours. And I'm like, I can't do this. And so anyway, I got on this treatment with Suboxone. And I was only on the Suboxone for a few months. And then to help me with the withdrawals to get off of it, which my pain management also helped me to kind of get off of it and stuff, wean myself off. And so that's why you notice, a lot of times, especially if you watch my beauty channel, I'm always doing this if I'm sitting for a while, because it's I can feel that pain coming, or if it goes down my left leg. What was my point? Oh, so I was outside picking up these big sticks and branches, putting it in the wheelbarrow, and, I had anxiety really bad, and I think from constantly bending and stuff, then the next day, oh my goodness, I was in so much pain. And so when that happens, and then I don't feel good, then, because I'm not on any type of pain medicine or anything like that, and ibuprofen really doesn't do anything when you start having a lot of pain. And, which for me, when I'm not feeling good, my blood pressure goes up really high, and then my sugar goes up really high. When I tested it, it was like 370, no matter what I was taking. It just, for some reason, it's when I'm not feeling good, my whole body. And then it shuts me down for a while, which then puts me in depression. So, anyway, today I'm feeling so much better, and I wanted to film and talk to you guys because there's a few things that I do want to talk about. That was a long-ass intro. I could have just said my back was hurting, I wasn't feeling good. That's why I haven't been filming. But you guys know I don't know how to make short stories. I always make them long. So, let's get to the meat and potatoes. As I said earlier, where, I was in pain in my body and I wasn't feeling good, and then I started going into a little depression, and then that made me think, and that's why I wanted to sit down and make this video. Oh, before I forget, we have our co-host Nala, aka Nala Poo Poo, which has my bed all messed up, but that's okay. I wanted to share a few stories with you about depression and things to look out for and different things. So in my last vlog, when I went to Walmart, I seen a friend of mine, Reggie, that I haven't seen in many years, many years. And I've known Reggie and his brother for damn near 30 years. Let's see, Tyler was... He was I don't even think a year old, and Tyler's 28 now, so I've known him for a long, long time, the family. I used to talk to his brother, gosh, Tyler was maybe 2? So we're going over 25 years ago. That's how long I've known them, and then I want to share a couple stories about that. When I seen Reggie, it made me think of this. I've shared this story before, and usually when I talk about people, I don't say their real name, just for privacy, but I'm going to say this man's real name because it's important that I talk about him and awareness. So his name was Mark. So Mark was first cousins with Tyler's father. Okay, so Mark and Tyler would have been second cousins. Now, me and Mark, we worked together at Walmart, actually, and a long, long time ago. And that's how I met Reggie's brother, which we'll call him Billy. Everybody's Billy or Sally. And that's how I met Billy, because Billy and Mark were very close. They called each other brothers, but they weren't blood brothers. They just knew each other from childhood. So, they were very close. Now, me and Mark, we always called each other cousins because Mark worked at Walmart as well. And even though we weren't blood related, but he was related to my son. And at the time, my son's father, they were cousins. So we just said, that's my cousin. Now, Mark was a very, very good-looking guy. Very good-looking. He was my daughter's complexion. So, like, caramel complexion. At least that's how my daughter describes herself. And he had, like, the beautifulest green eyes. Oh, my God. Beautiful, like lighter than mine, but green. And all the girls, oh, my goodness, they would literally drop their panties for him, Now, Mark was married. And Mark had a stepdaughter at the time. She was 14. He didn't have any biological kids, but he raised his stepdaughter. I think she was like 3 years old when him and his wife got together. So he always just said, his daughter, that was his daughter in his eyes. I'm telling you all this for a reason. Now, like I said, Mark was a big flirt, and he would cheat on his wife left and right. Okay, he can have any girl he wanted. I mean, he could have been a model. Very good looking, very nice, very funny. And us women like funny people, He was like 6'4", maybe 250 pounds, but muscular. I mean, built, very, very, like I said, very good looking. I never looked at him like that because he was like family, he was good looking, but I wasn't like sexually attracted to him. And, I used to always say to him, what's going to happen if your wife finds out? Like, you're crazy. Because, like, he would mess with girls, take him to his house when his wife was working and stuff. It was crazy. And he was like, my wife ain't never going to leave me. And I was like, you never know. So, his wife had found out. Somehow he found out one of the girls went to his wife. I don't know how it went. And his wife kicked Mark out of the house. And Mark was devastated. When I tell you devastated, because his ego was like this. Like, you couldn't tell Mark anything. He just thought like he had her, like he had it like that. And he was very devastated. He was shocked. I mean, he would write her letters, leave letters in the car. Back then, there were cell phones, but only if you had a lot of money. Like, people didn't really have cell phones, because back then when cell phones first came out, they charged you by the minute when you talked on the phone. And then whoever made the phone call got charged, right? So it was very expensive, and a lot of people didn't have, especially back then. We're talking about, this was, let's see, I had Tyler in 1995. So this situation happened in about 97, okay? 1997. So, but we all had beepers and stuff. So it wasn't like, you could call somebody if you weren't, you left letters or voicemails. This is when everybody had a landline, like a house phone that had the voice machine, all that stuff. And she wouldn't pick up the phone. So what she did was, remember I told you there was a daughter involved. So her biological father lived in Florida. So she called the biological father, the wife did, and said, come here, come meet me down here, come visit your daughter, all that kind of stuff. Explained to him that her and Mark separated, and he was all good. He was down. He came to Jersey from Florida. Well, what she did was, she knew she was going to sleep with him. So she called Mark up and said, come here. I remember it was a weekend. It was a Friday or Saturday. I want to say Friday night. And called him and said, come here around 8:30. We'll talk. But she did that because she knew that would be the time. She wanted Mark to find her in bed with her daughter's father sexually. She wanted him to feel the pain that she felt. She had this set up, but he didn't know about it. Okay. Now, mind you, prior to this, Mark would always call me and on the house phone, and at the time I was living with my mom because me and my son's father, we were always breaking up, getting back together. And, he always was like talking about her and crying and everything else. So he was calling all the time and I wouldn't answer the phone. He would leave messages and it's like, I couldn't be bothered. Okay. That's the worst mistake, and I'll get into that. Well, anyway, so when he went over there, he seen it, and he beat the bricks off of this guy. I mean, with the bat and everything. Okay, bad. So then he leaves. He was scared, the cops are going to be called or what have you. And I remember him calling me. Actually, he came to the house, at my mom's house. I was living here at the time. And I told my mom, tell him I'm not home. Because I didn't want to, I didn't know at this time this was happening. I didn't know, like, he went over there and called, I just was, I just thinking he was coming over to complain again, right? Because, like I said, we were very close, and we consider each other family. That night, he took a cable, like the cables that you'd plug the TV in, to the outlet and stuff, and he hung himself. So he unalived himself. Saturday morning, the daughter, because he was living, had his own little apartment at the time. So this was after a few months after they had separated, The 14-year-old daughter goes over there to check on him, and she's the one who found his body. He did leave a note. It's been almost 30 years, and it still gets to me. I always said, what if I answer that phone or answer the door? The guilt, I still have guilt, but the guilt was terrible. Okay. So Mark's family, they blame the wife. The wife never even went to the funeral, and that was his wife. I never blamed the wife. For his actions. I understood as a woman why she did that. She wanted to hurt him. I mean, nobody would have known he would have done that, because if you knew Mark, I mean, his head was like this. And like I told you, he always would say, she ain't never gonna leave me. He just had this, ego, right? So then me and Reggie's brother, we got even closer because he looked at him as a brother. I was like, that's my cousin. And, we bonded more and, all that stuff. But, so when I seen Reggie again, it made me think about Mark. And, Mark was the type of person, he would come to me and cry and upset because we were that close. It was like family. But to everybody else, he made it seem like he was doing okay. He was the one, if you said, how are you? I'm good. Come on, let's go have a drink. Let's go out. Come over. Let's play cards. Spades was a big thing back then, and pity pat and, all that kind of stuff. Dominoes, all of that. Because there wasn't this gaming like it is now, like PlayStation and all that. You didn't do that. This is when people actually spent time together with people and did things. And you drank, and played board games and stuff. And you would never think Mark would ever be depressed. You would never think Mark was the one that would ever do that, ever. And I guarantee you, he never thought his daughter would be the one that came in. I bet you he wanted to hurt the wife. I don't know, of course, but I'm surmising. I think Mark, he just couldn't take it. He was that hurt. Meanwhile, he played all these years like he didn't care, but the reason why I'm bringing this story up is sometimes it's the people that come on and act like everything's okay. Those are the ones that are most depressed or think about unaliving themselves. And it's like we don't check on those type of people. We check on the people that you can see are depressed or sad. But a lot of times people pleasers and people that act like they're okay, They're the ones you need to check on just because you think that they're okay or they say that they're okay. You know, by just asking, how are you? Are you okay? You know what I mean? You know, for many, many years, I never understood why the family blamed the girl like that. And grief. Grief does a lot, and it makes you angry, and you want to blame somebody. I mean, really, it was Mark who did it, right? But everybody wanted to blame the wife. I mean, she sold the house and moved out of state and everything. I mean, she was scared for her life. People were, every chance they got, they seen her, they were beating her up and stuff. It was bad. For many years, I blamed myself. So I just said, what if I would have answered the door? You know, now I look at it as, well, maybe he would have been alive that day, but who knows what would have happened. You know, was he drinking? Was he what? There was never an autopsy or anything like that. The family didn't believe in it, but was there drugs involved? I don't know. Because sometimes when you drink or get, you know, at the time did a little coke, sometimes you're not thinking right, especially when you're already depressed and sad. That's just the truth. He's probably scared he was going to go to jail. I don't know because I didn't talk to him. And it took me a long time to forgive myself. I still feel guilt, but I've forgiven myself, and it's only been maybe the last few years. I bring this up because after my mom died and stuff, just in case you don't know, my mother died in 2019 on Thanksgiving morning. And she passed away in this house downstairs. She was on hospice. And this was also my childhood home. My mother left me this house. But I couldn't move in here to a whole year. I just couldn't. It was hard. I would stay up here in my room, in this room. My room is the attic, but I've said this before, the attic was converted many years ago, decades ago, into like a bedroom. But I would lay in this bed right here and cry. And cry. Every time I go down the stairs, in my mind, I'd picture my mother on the recliner. What was it, about 2 years? You guys have been with me long enough that I even put furniture in the house, because in 2018 there was a house fire. 80% of the house got redone. And so, of course, my mom wasn't even in here a month before she passed away. So there was really no furniture in here. We did have a recliner for her because she had to always like sit up. She had COPD and heart issues and stuff, but mainly the COPD. So she had trouble breathing, so she had to sit up. And she had a TV and stuff, but really that was the only room at that time that had furniture yet. And so, of course, I had to... I didn't want any furniture in that room. And so for 2 years, that room was empty. I didn't realize now, like I was dealing with some type of PTSD. And that's the truth. But I would literally sit up here and cry. I would film my videos, my unboxing videos on my beauty channel, act like I was so happy because makeup and unboxings made me happy. So I was happy, even though I was negative in my videos. Like I was like, Boxy Luck sucks. Like I was very negative. But I wasn't, when I say happy, it wasn't like I was like crying in my video. Like I was normally, you know, out of the when I wasn't on camera. So I would film these videos. And then immediately wash my makeup off, get in my pajamas, and sit in the bed and cry again. And I did that for months and months and months. Nobody, not even my closest friends, knew how bad I was. I even thought about unaliving myself. I would never do that because I have children, but I thought about it. I thought about drinking and drugging, and it was just bad. I was grieving bad. I was also not in a very good marriage. Well, at that time when I first moved into this house, me and my husband were separated. Nobody knew. My husband, hey, it's all right. Lexi's coming home. She's off today. I told you when my kids are home, she don't want to, Nala don't want to be bothered. She wants to be with them. And so I was grieving with that because my husband, ex-husband now, so weird to say ex-husband. We just got divorced last month. He was living with a whole new family. So I moved in October. Oh, my package came. That's what she heard because I just got a text said your package came, is delivered. So that's what she heard, somebody at the door. November, the month later, was Thanksgiving when my mom passed, and December 12th would have been my anniversary, which my husband wasn't here, was another family. So I was grieving so bad, and I had nobody, no in-person friends that came to my house to help me. And I also stayed in my room because I didn't want my kids to see how sad I was. So I didn't want them to know. When I would talk to my friends and stuff, like, because they lived out of state, I act like I was okay. I mean, they knew I was hurting and grieving, but I act like I was fine. They did not know I had these unaliving thoughts in my head. They didn't know. They didn't know that I spent all day in my room and never went downstairs to watch TV, nothing. They didn't know. I mean, you guys didn't know for sure. Most of you guys, if you watched my beauty channel, you would just think, I was negative. Right? Because so many people were like, you're negative. I don't want to watch you anymore. And mine was like, but I'm grieving. I just lost my grandmother. 9 months later, I lost my mother. And nobody knew, but I'm like, my husband's living with a whole new family and my ex-husband, and like, it's just all this is me, because I was dealing with so much stuff. And I wish somebody would have checked on me. I wish people that knew me, that lived here, would have said, are you okay? Let me come over. Why don't you come over here? Because if I didn't have my children, I would have did what Mark did at that time. But I played it off. I was a people pleaser, having giveaways, wanting to make other people happy because I was so not happy. And I wanted to do things, I just wanted to see other people happy. That's what a lot of depressed people do, right? We give and whatever, and oh, I'm okay, I'm fine. So my main purpose of this video is check on people. A lot of times we check on the sick or the elderly or what have you because we know they're sick. You say, how are you feeling? But the people that seem happy or okay, we don't ask them, are you okay? How are you? Why is that? I'm not saying everybody's like that, but a lot of us are. But why? Those are the people I believe we need to ask, are you okay, the most? And that's the truth. Now, there are some people that are just happy. They are, and that's just how they are. That's just them. Like my daughter. My daughter is always happy. She wakes up happy. She goes to bed early, gets up. I mean, even when she was a little girl, it's like, whoa, she would be like, hey, mommy, and I'm like, well, I just got up. Let me have my coffee. I can wake her up at 4 a.m. I mean, I never did, but I couldn't say, come on, let's go out for breakfast. And she'd be like, okay. Always happy, always in a good mood. Coming home from work, she'll work doubles because she works the second shift. So she works the 2 to 11. Okay, well, 2:30 to 11. But when she works doubles, then she'll work from the 11 to 7. So she won't get home till like 7:30 in the morning, right? Then, and she's in a good mood. Coming home smiling and, all that type of stuff. So some people are just happy. Some people, a lot of people, put on a front. And we just need to just ask people, are you okay? If you haven't heard from them for a couple days, are you okay? My issue is when people know I shut down and I don't want to talk on the phone. And it's because I know, and I think it's, when I was really grieving, I became a very negative person. Not toxic, because I had real life stuff going, but negative. Really bad. I didn't realize I was that bad. I've said this before. And I wasn't really a good friend. I didn't check on anybody. I made it all about me. It was the worst. Remember, I didn't have heat working, so I literally had to have gloves on to go make my coffee down in the kitchen. We had the main water pipe burst. It was bad. So everything was just bad. That like, if I would talk to you, the first thing I would say is, oh my God, it's so cold in here. My hands hurt, my back hurt. I would never say, how are you? Never. You know, if you had a husband and let's say you financially couldn't do it, I'm like, well, at least you have your husband there. I mean, I was that type of person where I get that people didn't want to be around me or talk to me. I understand that. When I say I wasn't a good friend, like I wasn't two-faced, I didn't talk behind your back, I wasn't doing stuff like that. I was just not a good friend to say, well, how are you? Or I made everything about me. But again, I didn't know I was that bad. I knew I was negative, but I didn't realize I was that bad because I had the stages of anger, sadness, shock, anger, poor me, violin, everything's going wrong with me. You know, it was kind of like that. And I think a lot had to do with because I just stayed in my room and cried all the time because at that time I didn't have a car either. So I was stuck at home. And it would have been nice to have somebody come over or whatever, but I didn't have it, and that's okay, you know. But then I poor me again. I don't have any friends. I always thought nobody cared about me. Because of that in my head, so when I'm going through things now, I don't talk on the phone or talk to my friends because I feel like, am I complaining? I don't want them to end the friendship because other people did because I was always complaining when I was grieving. Does that make sense? Even though I can understand why they didn't want to be my friend. But I wish somebody would have told me. See, nobody told me, and maybe you need to get some help. Do you realize you're making it all about you? Or you got to do, like, I didn't have that. Nobody told me. And my good, true friends, like my friend Lisa and Jody, they let me complain and talk and grieve. They understood, you know. But I'm talking about the people that were angry and didn't want to be my friend. Nobody, I didn't know. It's like I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted to be friends with everybody because I was so depressed. So I would talk to anybody just to have somebody around. Does that make sense? It's like very weird. But like, again, I was negative. So I understand that part. But I just wish somebody would have just said, are you okay? You know, like, I'm talking about that lived around me, you know, family too. I was always known as the strong one. So I did everything. My grandmother, I was next of kin, right? Even she had children. I was the granddaughter. But I was so close and I did everything. When they had the house fire, I took care of everything. I was always the one people called and leaned on me emotionally, like family-wise, because I was a strong one. Even though I was the only one in my family that lived in the projects, poverty level, had kids, not with the fathers, raising kids. Everybody else had husbands and all that type of stuff, but or lived in houses. And, but I had to be like that or act like I was so strong because who else was going to do it? Sometimes people look at a family member and say, oh, well, they're strong, they can handle it. But that doesn't mean that they really are. It's tough when everything gets put on someone. Like, everything was always put on me. When the house fire was here, I didn't have anybody here helping me clean out the house. I didn't have anybody say, do you need help with the paperwork? Do you need help for the house insurance? Do you need No, never. What color paint should be painted? I was so I just told them, paint everything white. I didn't know what to do. It was bad. Anytime my mom was real sick, I was there. When my grandmother died, I was there when they took the body because everybody had to leave because they couldn't handle it. But I had to stay to sign the paper. Same thing with my mom when people came. As soon as they came to pick up everybody, I was that one. But that's very hard. Every time before my mom and grandma were in hospice, I was the one taking them to the doctors, taking them to do this. Because everybody, they couldn't be bothered. They had their own life. But it's like, I got little kids. All your kids are grown, right? But that was a lot, too, being put on one person. It's a lot. And so after my mom died and stuff, nobody came here and checked on me because I think people thought, I'm talking about family, that I was okay. But those are the people you have to check on the most because I wasn't okay. I played it off like I was okay, but I wasn't okay. Who would be? When my mother passed away on Thanksgiving, because I had already started cooking, after they came and, took my mother, I finished cooking Thanksgiving dinner, and people thought I was so strong. Like, oh my God, how can you? But when that's all you know, you have to be the strong one. That's all. That I was in shock. I was. Nobody in my family thought, like, let's get her and the kids out of the house. Even thought about my children. So I had to finish cooking Thanksgiving dinner for my children. What was I going to do? I mean, minimum. The turkey was already in the oven, and it was just like corn, like very, like it was like a regular dinner. It wasn't like, and then really nobody ate anyway. But I had to do something. But we all went back to my house. We didn't stay at my mom's house, of course. But my point to this is not for sympathy or anything like that. What I'm trying to say is the people that you think are the strongest, you have to check on them. Don't think just because they act strong doesn't mean that they are. Maybe some people are very frustrated but won't say anything. But because people look strong and maybe you can't deal with it, people need help. That doesn't mean that person who's strong wants to deal with it all the time. It's not fair on that person. It wasn't fair on me at all. It was not fair that everybody, because they knew Ann would take care of it, so they got to do their own thing. Meanwhile, me and my kids for many years suffered because we couldn't have a life. I don't mean that anything because I would do it all over again and be there for my mother and grandma. That's not what I mean. Don't take it the wrong way. But it would have been nice sometimes for me not to have to do everything. Not to have to see my mom suffer so much all the time. That is hard. What I'm saying is, and it's not about me, I'm just using this as an example. We just have to check on people. Like I said, we always think about the sick or the elderly or what have you, or the people that act like they're okay, or people pleasers, or always want to do for you. Those are the ones a lot of times that struggle the most. Like I said, not some of them are just happy, but most of the time they're the ones that are struggling the most. So just check on them. Ask them if they're okay. If you don't hear from them, or go check on them. I mean, seriously, at one point in time, if I did not have my children, there would have been no more of Just Ann. And that's the God's honest truth. That's how bad I was. But I played it off to everybody. I mean, my good friend Lisa, I would tell her, I'd stayed in my room all day, but she didn't know how bad it was. She had no idea. It was bad. And I don't want this video to be sad. It's not a sad video. It's not that. Just to bring awareness to depression. Depression is a real thing. And a lot of times people associate depression with somebody that you notice they're depressed. That that you can tell that are just moping around and all that. Yes, you can tell, right? Sometimes I was depressed where, this is years ago, like I wouldn't take showers or want to brush my teeth or get dressed or anything like that. Or I didn't want to clean my house, but then there's a part of depression where people act like they're okay and want to make other people happy because they're depressed. So that makes them feel good because you know what it feels like, and you want to make people happy so they would be happy because you don't feel happy. And that's what I want to say. There's all different signs, and just ask people, how are you? Because that means a lot. I know when I was at my deepest depression, if I had more people say, well, how are you? It would have meant more to me. Or maybe I would have talked about it. I don't know. But like I said, seeing Reggie again made me think of Mark. And then, like I said, I fell into a little depression. And I think another reason is when I was answering some comments, I had a few people say, how they're depressed and they wish they were more like me, or, happy in this. And I thought, well, I need to make a video because that's not true. I'm just like you guys. The only difference is I'm on camera, right? I mean, most of the time I don't even put makeup on. Let's keep it real. Even on my beauty channel, a lot of times I don't put makeup on. You might see 3 or 4 videos with makeup on. It's because I'm filming it all on the same day when I wear makeup. But a lot of times I have no makeup on. Maybe a little lipstick or whatever, but nothing else. And I'm unboxing boxes. Because I'm forcing myself to film. I'm finally getting over, it was for a while. It's a hard, sometimes people ask me, why did I talk about my divorce and talk about my ex-husband and why did I get so personal? Well, the real reason was I was hurting. I was hurting bad. I was angry and hurting. It doesn't feel good not to be loved. When the person that you're married to is easy to throw in divorce or walk out or be with a woman just in a few weeks or what have you. It doesn't feel good for a man that you're with or a woman or whoever not to want to fight for the marriage or help you out financially or see you struggle or throw in your face your health or take you off of health insurance knowing because he quit his job and then he got another one and didn't add me on. But like, knowing my health situation or not treat you good. There's so many stories. This video is getting long enough that I can tell you that my husband did. You'd be like, what? How cruel he was to me. So I was hurting. Like, I'm happy that we're not together and we're divorced. He's not the person for me. But it still hurts. It just hurts to feel not loved, right? And I felt like a failure. And that's the truth too. And so dealing with that also, just a lot of things I've been going through. But, I'm finally getting back into, you guys can see, because I am happier. I think this little depression I had for a few days was because of the back pain and the leg pain. And then like I said, when I don't feel good, my sugar goes out of whack, and then my blood pressure, and then I just don't feel good, then I get depressed. I think it was only because of that. It wasn't like a reason. But like I'm finally starting to feel better. And I don't know, I just thought it was something to share. I just think we just need to check on people. That's all, and let me know. Do you guys, I was going to say celebrate. Do you guys suffer from depression? Like sometimes I know some people have seasonal depression, like the weather, like winter time or what have you. Is it like when you're going through things or when you're not feeling good? And like, what do you do? Because sometimes I'm like, when I feel like this, oh, you get out and walk, and then I'm fine. Once I'm out walking, I'm fine. Once I have makeup on, oh, good, I can film. Let's film. But sometimes getting to that point, I don't want to do it, right? So what do you guys do? Let me know. For me, personally, I've been reading let me show you. I got a study Bible. Hold on. I had a few people ask me, what is a study Bible? And I just want to show you. So this is what I got. I got this from Amazon. I think this is about $50 or something like that. It's called Life Application Study Bible. It's an NIV right here. Some people have like the King James version and stuff. This is in large print, but let me just show you. I am actually reading Revelations. That's what I'm reading right here. But let me get to where, like, anything so I can show you what it means. So I just flipped it to here. This is Romans 5:20. So you would read here. It's in large print here. You would go here. And then what a study Bible is, it tells you what each chapter means. It goes into detail to explain, in layman's term, right? Like a Bible for dummies or what have you, what everything means. And it gets more into detail. An example. When I am reading Revelation, so in the beginning, it actually told me who wrote Revelations. Now, not to get into like this political, my goodness, biblical, because I know a lot of people don't like talking about religion. But I'm just saying, like, I did not know that John, the disciple, is the one who wrote Revelations. And I didn't know that out of all the original 12 disciples, John was the only one who wasn't killed because of his faith. And just other things, and it teaches you that in a study Bible. And I really like it. So that's what I've been doing. Like when I'm depressed, just watching church online, listening to gospel music, anything like that for me brings me joy and can get me in a better mood. That's what I do. And then once I start feeling better, then it's like, all right, let me get in the shower. Let me do this. Let me do that. But let me know what you guys do. Just, maybe somebody in the comments can help, and even maybe for me. But yeah, I think sometimes we need to talk about things more often that we don't talk about. And it's because I notice a lot of YouTubers, they just want positivity and positive. I'm so positive. And, you know, what have you. I got a perfect life. But that's not reality for a lot of people. Some people have a really good life that they think is perfect. Nobody has a perfect life. But in their eyes, they might think it's perfect. You know, they might be doing really well. But a lot of us are struggling and suffer from anxiety, depression, or both, or what have you. And I just think it needs to be talked about more so that you know you're not alone. You're not alone. Just because you see me now, full face of makeup, happy, this and that, I was just coming out of a 3 to 4 day depression. You understand? Like, the only difference is I'm on camera. And I only film when I'm happy. Right? And so like on my beauty channel, sometimes I film 2 or 3 videos that day. So when I post it every day for 3 or 4 days, it may seem like I'm happy those 3 or 4 days, but it was only that one day. Does that make sense? We're all going through things and nobody is perfect. And if I go through pain, I've learned, you know, my pain is not worse than yours and yours is not worse than mine. I say this all the time to my friends. If I break my leg, but you break your pinky, that doesn't mean that my pain is worse than yours because I broke my leg and you hurt your pinky. No, maybe your pain is the same as mine. I might have a high tolerance and you do not, right? Or what have you. Nobody is better than anybody else. And my stress, I might be going through things, and maybe you're just stressed out because you're arguing with your husband or what have you. I don't know. I'm just making something up. But that doesn't mean I have it worse than you or you have it worse than me. You understand? And so just remember that you're never alone. You're not alone. So anyway, yeah, let me know down below. What do you guys do? And, you know, check on people even when they seem fine. That is the point. 50 minutes. My point is, they may seem fine, but check on them. All right, I'm going to get off of here. I just wanted to share that story about Mark and different things. And, you know, sometimes don't always be so busy because you never know what somebody's going through. And I had to learn that. I wish I would have picked up that phone or answered that door. All right, guys, please like this video. I know it's kind of like a sad video, but there's a purpose for this video. So like this video. Make sure you leave a comment. Commenting really helps out with an engagement, even if it's just an emoji. It would mean the absolute world to me. And to Nala. Stay beautiful, stay blessed, stay healthy. And most importantly, always stay you. Never let somebody take you out of character. Do as I say, not as I do. All right, bye, guys. I don't know what happened because this was supposed to be a positive video. What in the world happened? I have no idea. I don't know. This is what happens when I don't... Oh, no, I dropped you. No. No. This is what happens when I don't film for a while. Yes, it does. And now I need to get more water. That was good. That was good.